Well, I'm
Well,
glad that we
thank
can
you.
make it happen, and thank you so
Yes,
much for inviting me and Yoga Sleep.
of course. Thank you for joining us. We're so excited to learn all about the importance of white noise for our little ones and how beneficial it is for traveling and sleep in general.
Yes, totally.
So, tell us a little bit about Yoga Sleep and your product lineup, if you don't mind.
Sure. And let me know if it's a little loud. My door is open. I'm like, ironically, need a white noise machine right now to block out sound on the street.
No
Um,
worries.
but anyways, my name is Molly. I'm a brand and community manager at Yoga Sleep. We are the maker of the original white noise machine. Yoga Sleep has been around since we actually, this year is our 60th anniversary in business, 60, if you can believe that.
That's
So
massive.
I know. So basically, in like 1962, one of our sort of founders of the company invented the dome, which I'm sure many of your followers are familiar with. It's sort of like the original white noise machine. This is our Dome Connect.
My
This is
personal
like,
favorite.
yeah, this is my favorite dome too. It is app enabled, so this is sort of like our high tech dome. But really, our sort of claim to fame is it's the first white noise machine with a fan inside. And it just gives you that like awesome, rich white noise because it's like generated from an actual fan. It's, not like an electronic recording. So really that was sort of our start was the Dome white noise machine. And, we've sold millions of that product since 1962. And we've since expanded into all kinds of like products for babies. I'm sure most people are familiar with the Roam. This is like super
It's a
well
must
known
have, just a must have.
iconic little travel sound machine.
If you have a newborn and you plan on going anywhere, you need this.
Yes. And whenever I am like out about in the world, I love seeing parents and moms with like the Roam or the Hush like clipped to their stroller. And I'm always that weird person who's like running up to them and being like, hey, I work for the company that makes this. I'm so glad you're using it. But yeah, like when you're on the go, it's like a total lifesaver, I think.
Yes, especially like if you want to have brunch or something and you just want your baby to take a little bit of a nap,
Yeah.
especially when they're newborns and you just need to cancel out all that background noise. It's not too loud. It's perfect.
Exactly. It sort of creates like a little, I like to call it, it's almost like a force field
Yes.
of white noise that like keeps out, like blocks out any large sounds that might disrupt their sleep. And especially, yeah, when you're like out and trying to like run errands or, go out to dinner, like you said, like it's a total lifesaver.
Do you mind turning it on so our followers can hear it in case anybody's never heard of white noise or what we're talking
Sure.
about?
I have to say, embarrassingly, these might not be fully charged, but the Dome Connect, I can turn this on. Oh, this one gets really loud. Um,
That's quality white noise right there. Let me just say that.
I know this one is really my favorite because um, just to get into a little the nitty gritty. So, our the Dome sound machines, which are like the fan base. So, like any of our sound machines that have Dome in the product name, you'll know that it has a real fan inside. And those are wonderful. Like I personally prefer the sound of those, but there are people who um, don't love them because it's a fan. It can only get so loud that it they don't get as loud in terms of like decibel readings as say like even the little Roam, which we say it's like small yet mighty. Like it can get like a good decibel level. But the Dome Connect, for whatever reason, the mechanics of the unit, it is our loudest dome. So if you love fan based white noise, like that's definitely the one to go with. go for.
I would love to touch on the decibels because I think
Yeah,
this is something that a lot of parents really don't know about is when it comes to white noise, where and how do you
right.
know if it's too loud? What should you do?
Mhm.
All of that when it comes to white noise.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And we get that question often. So I would say before I like dive into the specifics, like we always say, just common sense, like at the end of the day, you're not going to like put an electronic device right next to your baby's ear, right? But really, what we recommend with all of our white noise machines, and this is for any user, this is not just for babies or toddlers, is that when you're sleeping or whenever you're napping, like you want the sound machine to be placed a minimum of 3 feet away from wherever you are. Because if it's closer than that, it's just, if it is at maximum volume, you could put, potentially be in a not super safe range of decibel. And I believe it's the American Academy of Pediatrics. Their recommendation is specifically for babies, which obviously is important. They have much more tiny, more sensitive ears and like eardrums. Um, you don't want to play more than a decibel level of like 50. Um, so just a little like rule of thumb, our roam, I believe, goes up to, I can't totally remember, but at complete maximum volume. And if you're like doing a decibel reading, it goes up to like maybe in the 60s, but that's if you're at like complete high volume
Complete
and
and like
it's
next to your head.
right, exactly. And it's close. So because the way that all of our engineers on our team, they take measurements of the decibels. And when we do the measurements, I think they actually take them from 6 inches because that's just sort of the standard with sound engineering to like get a true decibel reading. But obviously, like you're not really putting this right next to your child. So it's just to like get an idea.
Right.
Um, but it's really like with anything, like you want to have it at the volume that, like the lowest volume that is effective for your child, right? So sometimes, like a really powerful tool for white noise or white noise machines is to block out loud sounds. So in terms of placement, so like let's say for example, you have a baby and then like an older sibling, and right, they're like
Quiet time
loud,
versus nap time.
right, in the hallway, like obviously I'm sure a lot of parents can relate to that. So if you're more concerned with blocking out those sounds that might wake up your baby or your toddler when they're sleeping, like we always say to like place the sound machine in between, so it almost is a barrier. So you place it in between the sleeping infant and then wherever the loud noise is coming from, and it should create sort of um, like a
Force field.
sound barrier. Yeah, a force field. It should create like a sound barrier so that like any of those loud noises will be like softened so that they just won't hear them. Like it sort of like flattens out the decibels, I guess.
Yeah, and how can you use multiple, like 4th of July, for example?
You
Days where
could,
you have a lot going on or
yeah.
you have family over.
Totally, you could. And I mean, I would say, like, specifically, like, when I travel with my toddler, we will do that. Like, so if, like, you're staying in a house with a lot of family members, like, we'll hang a roam on, like, we'll have maybe a dome in the room that's, like, depending on the setup of the room, obviously, like, at least, 3 feet away from the crib or pack and play. Um, and that'll just sort of create the white noise to help your child sleep. And then usually, like, sometimes we'll hang like a roam, even just like outside of the door, like hang it on the doorknob, because that sort of creates like that barrier. So if like people are walking down the hallway or watching TV or something, like it can add like another level. So I personally like that. I would say like some people might be like, oh, that's way too much white noise going on. But I mean, for me, it helps me sleep better when there's like multiple sound
Right,
machines.
and that's the purpose of white noise. For anybody who's never used it and doesn't know
Mhm.
why we use white noise, it's basically to give our little ones a calm space to fall asleep, correct?
Yes, totally. Um, and one thing that is really interesting about white noise that I love to share this little tidbit is, and of course, there's no actual scientific studies on this because we can't ask babies, like, why do you like white noise? It like would be impossible. But experts and doctors and physicians think that children like white noise because if you think about it, when a baby is in the womb, it's not complete silence, right? Like there's whooshing of blood and there's a heartbeat, and like it's not like they're in stark nothing. Like they're hearing a lot of things, like in their mom's, growing in their mom's belly.
Right.
Um, so really, like, a newborn, white noise is so helpful because it sort of mimics that sound of the womb, that like nice, soothing, like whoosh sound.
It's
Um,
that comfort space they've been in for 9 months. Now they get it again.
yes,
Yeah, I
totally.
found that really fascinating is that my firstborn, when he was born,
Mhm.
I have dogs, and I was like, oh my gosh, like they're gonna wake the baby. But he was so used to, I think, the dogs barking,
Right,
it wasn't an issue.
right. Yeah.
That's white noise.
No, that's so true. And yeah, it's totally like a little bit of like conditioning, like what your child is used to, but I just love white noise because to me it's like a safe tool for
Yeah.
sleep. It's not, they're not ingesting anything. It's not harmful. It's accessible. It's just like it works. So
We
to
have a
me,
great
it's
question. Someone would like to know about what noise to use, whether thunder, rain, a little bit about what
yeah.
noise.
So I would say it's really such like a personal preference, and a lot of our electronic sound machines. So like this actually is a new one that we released for travel. This is like our sea soother. It's super cute.
Stop it.
It's
How
fun.
cute is that?
Yeah, it looks like a toy, but it has, I believe, like 6 different sound options, and some of them are those like nature sounds, like waterfall, rainfall. And I would say, for the most part, for like infants and newborns, just straight sort of white noise, no music, no nature sounds are typically more effective because it's just like simple and it's not little things that their ear will sort of
It's
like.
not like overstimulating to them because it's too
Exactly, right,
much.
right. But I do think like as they get older, and I'm just speaking from personal experience, like my toddler, like she actually does like sort of like nursery songs, like soft little um, like we have a few sound machines for baby that have like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and like little
Yes.
things like that are like soothing to her as she gets like older into toddlerhood. But it's really just finding what works best for your child, and it's sometimes a little bit of trial and error of seeing like what they like.
Yes, exactly. But definitely start with the white noise for newborns because
Yeah,
it can be a lot if you're playing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star for them.
yeah, I would say so. Like, I just feel like with newborns, it's like simple is best, and just like that even white noise sound, or even like shushing sounds, which some of ours have that option, is really like the safest bet, I would say.
Yes. So for on the go, you should have white noise. If you want to be on the go, you should have it. It's really just something every parent should have at all times for beneficial reasons for your little one to get some rest, even
Mhm.
for quiet time. But do you have to wean your toddler off white noise, or is it something that the family can fully benefit from?
I would say no. I mean, that is a common question we get. And it's hard to say because obviously, like, everyone needs to make their own decisions. But I think our point of view is if it's still working and it's still helping your child get like great quality sleep, that trumps any kind of dependence on white noise. I've never really met anyone who's like, "Oh, my kid is addicted to white noise. I don't know what to do." I think like we're really like, if it's a tool that is working for you and it's helping your child and your family get better sleep, I mean, then why I wouldn't mess with a good thing. Um, and as they grow, there's like different options, or like if they're quote unquote addicted or like need the dome sound, like a lot of our electronic sound machines have dome options like for travel, like so you'll be able to sort of take those sounds with you. But yeah, I don't think weaning, it's not really like something, I wouldn't worry about it too much. It's sort of like what
Yeah.
works.
Yeah. I mean, I know adults who use white noise and certain
Oh
noises
yeah.
to fall asleep. It's just, I love the fact that you called it a tool because it really is.
Hmm.
And for any age, you can benefit from it. And I want to touch on travel because this is
Hmm.
where it can come in huge benefits. So
Hmm.
for toddlers, newborns, anyone really, how
Yeah.
can white noise help parents through traveling, like in airports and naps
Oh
or
my
on the
gosh.
plane?
It's such a lifesaver. I mean, to me, the hardest thing about traveling with little ones is that you don't know there's so many different variables
Yes.
in terms of sleep. Like they'll be sleeping in a different bed, a different space. Like there's just so much stimulation. And the good thing about white noise, especially if you're already using it at home, like in their nursery or bedroom, it just sort of brings that this like comforting element that they're used to, that is like helping them sleep. And then more importantly, which I personally use white noise a lot when I'm traveling, is like, if you're like staying at, you never know what the sound proofing is going to be like when you're staying at a hotel or like an
That's so
Airbnb.
true.
If you're in a city, we actually did a big study with the Weill Cornell School of Medicine in New York City. This study has gone on for several years, and they were basically studying the effect of white noise on like city dwellers, or anyone who like lives in an apartment, and like how it benefited their sleep. And they used the dome in this medical study that went on for like several years, and ultimately they found that white noise is incredibly beneficial, especially for living in a city where there's so many people. You're just on, everyone is on top of each other. And that it just, number one, like, and these were adults, but obviously this applies, like it helped them fall asleep faster and then sleep better throughout the night. So like stay asleep, and then like achieve like a better quality level of sleep.
Yeah.
um, so that, and I can share that study, but I think for me, like traveling to like a major city or like a hotel, like you just don't know, like there could be construction. And then what you mentioned, like all of that in between time, like getting to the airport, or sometimes you can't schedule everything around their nap, and it's
Right.
like, sorry kid, you need to like try to get a nap in on the go, like whether that's like
Right.
in an airport or, and
A Disneyland in a wagon.
yes. Exactly.
You just got to make it work, but you give them the tools that they're used to fall asleep.
That's so true. It's funny because I'm actually going to California next week, and I think we're trying to go to Disneyland. And in my head the whole time, because my daughter is almost 3, and I'm like, what are we going to do
Me
about her
too.
name? Yeah,
Oh, just forget
I
it.
know. I'm like, maybe I should just let it go, or if she gets
Just
like
early to bed that day.
yeah,
Nobody naps on Disney days.
that's true.
Just kidding.
We'll
You
all
just
be
go to line.
exhausted.
Everybody, like 4 p.m., everybody's ready for bed.
Yes, totally.
So, are there any other benefits you want to touch on when it comes to white noise, or anything else parents should know? Or if they haven't implemented white noise, can they begin?
Yeah, I mean, I would say you can always start it. I mean, I know people, my husband, who didn't really ever use white noise to sleep, and then now he is like truly addicted to the dome and like needs it every night. And a big benefit of the white noise is that for everyone, of course, children included, the way that it sort of works is it's really about like creating a bedtime routine, and sort of like the ritual of like, as a baby, you know how it is, like it's bath time and putting on PJs and switching on the sound machine and reading a book. And it really like signals to their brains that like, okay, like this is the next thing, you know, getting ready for bed. So it's just like a really awesome tool that can just like reinforce those bedtime routines. But yeah, I mean, again, it is funny. I mean, I know people who don't like white noise. Like my mom, for example, likes to sleep in complete silence. And I'm like, you're weird. I don't understand that. Like complete
Right.
silence? What is that? Um, but like, yeah, I mean, to me, it's like
I love
totally,
that though. It's something you don't
yeah,
want to use all the time. It's a transitional tool that gets you
yes,
prepped for sleep. So
exactly.
it's you don't want to have white noise on during all day, all the time, because then your little one's just going to be accustomed to it and not be signaled to go to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not, yeah, I wouldn't like, I know a lot of folks, and we have so many clients and customers who use our sound machines for like privacy, like, you know, I'm sure if you've gone to a doctor's office, like noise blocking. So of course it's fine to have it, you know, to use white noise during the day. But I think for children, really any age, just helping reinforce the bedtime routine. And it sort of just like triggers to their brain that like,
Right.
okay, I hear that sound. It's like,
It's one step within their routine to prep them for the
right,
sleep.
that's just like time. It's like wind down time, right? So
Right, right. I love that.
yeah.
And so you have the travel one, you have the dome,
Hmm.
and then are there other options?
Oh yeah, we have so many options. So one that I love is this is the Travel Mini, and this is
How
like
cute.
super light, and it has a night light, which of course this is not charged. I'm sorry, I just like pulled
No.
these out of my stash, but it has this really beautiful like soft night light here. So this is so awesome for travel with the whole family
Yeah.
because you know how it is. You're in a new place and you need to get
You
up in the
lost the
middle of,
pacifier and you got to find it.
yeah, exactly. And you don't want to wake everyone up.
Right? It's like, shh.
Yeah, so this one is like, and it's super light. It's so easy to pack. Um, and then we don't, I would say, technically have any like travel domes, but the truth is, like, I mean, I don't travel with the Connect. This one is like a little bit taller than our like classic dome, but I mean, I will bring my dome with me. I mean,
I
and
do.
yeah,
I
we
do.
hear
I'm
from
like,
customers all the time that they just like throw them in their suitcase. And I think
it's
like,
precious cargo.
I know, and especially when you're traveling, it's like you don't want to, it's everything is worse when you had a bad night of sleep, right? Like,
Especially when you're traveling and on vacation, it's like
yeah.
you want to sleep so you can enjoy your vacation, not stress about not sleeping, not sleep, and then not be able to enjoy your vacation.
Oh, no, exactly. So I just feel like the true benefit of white noise is, you know, I think studies show it's like something ridiculous. Like 70% of Americans struggle with sleep. And as we know, current times, like I think that's probably getting worse. And, you know, it's really hard to get through your day. It's so hard to be a parent and be a mom if
Yeah.
you're exhausted. I mean, everyone knows that, but it just makes everything harder. So to me, that's like the biggest benefit.
Yeah. Getting restorative quality sleep
Yes.
and just having this tool no matter where you go is so important, especially for your little ones too.
Hmm.
Yes. Well, is there anything else you want to share with our followers? This was awesome.
I don't have anything else to add. I do. We will have a special like 20% off some of our like top selling sewing machines that I will share with you, a coupon
Awesome.
code, but I'll share
Thank
that
you.
with you and you can like share out in a
Yep.
caption.
We'll put it in our caption and I'll share it in our story. So we'll have a link and you can click that.
Awesome. One other thing I did want to add is we
Yeah.
actually did just release a baby monitor,
How cool.
OVA, which is super exciting. And this is it's a white noise machine baby monitor, two-way intercom, nightlight, has everything. So this is like
All in one.
yeah, we just launched this year. And it comes with an app. It's like app enabled. So this is awesome because it's like has all of those you know, like units that you would buy
Together.
separately and like
Yeah.
one.
And you could travel with that. Put it in some tube socks.
Hmm.
It's safe, and you've got everything you
Yeah,
need
totally.
ready to go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this was wonderful. Thank you so much for all of your information on white noise. If you're traveling, you need white noise. And
Yes.
just in everyday life, you should be using your white noise for yourself and for your little ones to have good
Yes.
restorative sleep.
Sleep is so important. It's
So
everything.
important
Yeah.
for everybody, not just your little ones. You've got to get good rest too to be a
Hmm.
good parent.
Yep. Totally.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you, Leah. It was wonderful. And we love Baby Quip and all that you do. It's
Well,
awesome.
thank you. Hopefully, we get to do this again soon.
Awesome.
All right. Take
Thank
care.
you. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Bye.